there's something wrong with my PC at the end thing real quick because like there was something wrong with it. Don't ask what happened. Like I don't know what happened. Okay. So I have so much Robux.
Hi.
Most probably yes, that was me. Why did I do that?
Show my video called We Go Bump Scratch Cat versus Faces and Phone POV Camera.
No, I don't. No, I don't watch that.
No.
That's not watching it. It's really shit on these games.
UHM. Show my video called
I'm not showing any of your videos.
Let's Celebrate.
I'm not watching it.
BNNCELLL. Show my video
I'm
called
not showing your video.
Let's Celebrate.
I'm not showing your video. I'm not.
Hi. Hi. W stream. Hi.
W Shiro, yeah.
W stream, yes.
Well, I'll play a game. Just let me paste a link into my game, so people can play it and stuff. You guys wanna play a game I made? Okay, that's the wrong link.
W stream.
That's the link.
Cross mark high check
It
mark.
should bring you to the game.
https://www.roblox.com/games/9305672967704/bencells-birthday.
I'm joining my own game now. Bensel's birthday. I'm gonna look on the marketplace because like I have some Robux. I'm not gonna buy the whole thing, bro. I'm not gonna go broke in like a second. Six, seven now. Pieces now. This is six now. Very small now. That was nice. Dude, I can just get that thing for free. You think I'm gonna buy that? Sure I did. So throwing in the game, I'm actually not gonna play it. What should I do though? Like, I mean, I have so much Robux. Like, I don't know what to do with it. Like, I think I have too much. It's like my first time saying I have too much Robux. I don't want to give it away though. I ain't giving it away. I'm going back to sweatpants. We're not in the marketplace. What the heck? No, not tower defense. Just slap battle. Wheelchair glove. Okay. You see, I don't have radio, but I do have it. Should I get Ultra Instinct? Nah. Should I get Spectator? Wait. 160, 160, like. It's so boring. Everything's so boring. I am falling on a bomb. Giddy up, jingle, dance on the place. Giddy up, jingle, dance. Jingle. What is this? The art looks so. How do I say this? It doesn't look normal. Looks like it's made in Microsoft Paint or something. Like,
M.
huh? Well, um, let's see.
Pictures, bugs, and softlocks. They're rare and amusing events in video games that leave us with a little chuckle. But what if they were more than just a silly distraction? That's it. They were a competitive sport. Welcome to the Backseat Broken Games, where your favourite franchises
It's
go
not
head to be
good to
crowned the
play.
champion of Jen. This time it's the softball sprint, where three
Oh, I
teams
could make UGC
race
though,
against each other
like,
to get their playable characters stuck in a way that makes progress impossible as fast as possible. First up, it's Team Freddy, represented by their most
I want
recent
to get
racing
something in the
outings.
marketplace where
This
there's
predicament
nothing
bears maybe the king of the genre and
that's
a
empty. So
glitch magnet. But since it's speed we're looking for and not necessarily quantity, and they still dominate. What's this? I'm getting an urgent report that you at home need to barricade your windows immediately, since every glazier's worst nightmare, Team Neighbor, has entered the fray. With only 2 games of this trilogy actually released at the time of recording, we're going to have to sub in a different game in place of the third. Now, I could include one of the spin-offs, or maybe even one of the alphas to achieve that, but I think it might be a little bit more fun to get some variety and include a more friendly edition instead. And finally, if elongated arms are your spice, then you're going to love the length of Team Poppy's limbs, since it's actually getting kind of annoying ejecting ourselves into bubble feelings, landing at the bottom of the stairs and saving a bunch of time.
what is this?
At a risk, however, since landing in this area instead would get you permanently stuck. Bad for speedruns, but perfect for our purposes, and pretty flipping close to the start of the game. It sounds too good to be true, right? Unfortunately, I discovered that this has since been patched, so sadly, it is disqualified. Ruling that out then, what about this stairwell at the end of the tutorial instead? And wouldn't you know, hopping over this railing also gets us stuck, albeit mysteriously floating in the air this time. With absolutely no way to jump back out again, and with the sweet release of death also being denied to us, I guess the chicken just needs some alone time to process what she's even looking at. We have achieved a somewhat speedy soft lock in 6 minutes and 28 seconds. I suppose all those slow, unspoken sections really start to add up. So let's get to that time.
The water.
And let's see if we can find somewhere a little bit earlier in the game that cuts some of that out. While I explain, start the clock. In Security Breach, falling out of bounds usually respawns you back at the last save point you floated from, since this is the developer's emergency precaution to
Oh my god, so much Roblox.
But
It's so much.
system that has never been fixed to this day is that if you start a new game and never load any saves, the game just doesn't respawn you ever. And instead, it will just leave you falling into the endless abyss.
It's not free, I know. I know the owner for this game.
Everything inside that room has got a little bit as much as it just straight up doesn't exist. Sure, you can see where it goes. So, like, this game up fresh, no saves loaded, absolutely punt our mystery tutorial as fast as possible. And without even engaging in the first statement, see, run straight to the stairs by. Just like that, we have successfully trapped this child in an eternal prison edge in only 2 minutes and 26 seconds. That is much, much better. It's a strong start for Team Freddy. But can the game's horror-focused DLC ruin fare any better? Ruin is the free to download dilapidated piece of lights. And our new protagonist Cassie searches for Gregory after he got soft-locked in the previous run. The intended introduction to the game is much more simple this time. So let's go over it. Cassie meets the piece of lights by a hobby.
Let's see what's in store for me. Yes, the game's broken? Where is my base? Where is my money?
This takes quite a while. When that's over, she climbs up the honestly pretty poorly maintained beta shaft, gets through a vent, solves the first door puzzle, and after a bit more walking around, both her fragile spine and the title gets dropped by Bobty. This seamlessly leads us into the ruins of Jata Jolt, but let's stop there. I've seen how Ruin ends, and things do not go well for Cassie. So before any of that can happen, let's find her somewhere nice and safe where she can never, ever escape. Unlike Security Breach, which I am very familiar with, for Ruin and Secrets of the Mimic, I needed to draft in a little help courtesy of the speedrunning Discord. These were initially very promising, with an out of bounds being possible only a few steps after starting the game. By wedging ourselves in some awkward collision and spamming jump, Cassie could ascend to the heavens,
just gonna
doing little
play
as
like
seemingly deciding Gregory is just it's flex and about
did not want to play right
sessions. So that's problem solved. Esther is the boy like
Why
Gregory.
is my back down so low?
Sadly, since jumping into
I'm gonna make a second outfit. And I don't even gotta leave the game. I'm just gonna make a second outfit. See that? Oh wait, no, I can't do it. But do it. Let's see something.
Start the clock. Begins the game and take control of Cassie. We proceed to do the extremely exciting strat of just this thrilling gameplay continues all the way up until we into action. So this corner, we need to jump until we reach something. Jumping down the elevator shaft. Sadly not though, since it's a ability, sluggish is touching a ladder. Seems pretty situational to me, but I guess it does get around this scrape, so shut my down like this. If we do not get something on to bring, a bit more precisely, a perfect duck break. Straight into this snowman. Something speed to minutes. 18 seconds. Online winding it's an elevator shift. So, that's great. They really tied on there, which just go. It's time for the final Freddy team member. Seems the limit. This game would be an sequel for a secret of the mimic.
Ow!
Should call it to one last drop per day.
Okay, let me drink some more water.
Before we start something, though, as always, let's see what that ship would entail if we were being well behaved. Arnold, anybody. The game immediately kicks off with a very, very long phone call, but thankfully for once, this will not count towards our time, since controlling Arnold's feet comes a...
You know what I could do? I could waste like 800 Robux on Secondary Private Super Plus, but like, I also don't because I don't play Forsaken. Like, I don't want to, but I want to.
But that all seems like an awful lot of my man Arthur. So let's see if we For anyone somewhat familiar with the game, you already know my first port of call would be ghosting dispatch and submitting to the siren call of these nearby lockers. For those unaware, here's the long and short of it. In Secret of the Mimic, if you leave a locker and then walk back into it before the door completely closes, you will get stuck inside that door, allowing you to sit to the top of the object, kind of like what happened in Ruin. This is especially important in this game since Alfred can't jump, making this one of the very few ways to gain vertical height. Back at launch, this glitch was very famous and used by speedrunners to leap out of the map and beat the game in just a few minutes. That's a pretty respectable run. This would also be super useful for our purposes because in this game, getting out of bounds is back to being broken again. But being famous comes with downsides too, with this glitch sadly being one of the many casualties of the game's big September patch. Disqualifying it from this challenge is what I would say if the patch actually fixed anything at all. Yeah, for some reason this glitch just literally still works. I don't know why. It says it's been patched, but it just isn't. Speaking to
I can't fix it all.
In a science time of... Okay, well that's just embarrassing. If anything needs to be said at this point, the problem is the same as always. In fact, it is worse than ever before, with the mandatory exposition song and dance in this game taking almost 2 full minutes on its own. So if Acorn wants to avoid dragging his entire team down, we're going to have to find a soft block before entering the building. Thankfully, once again, the speedrunners save the day. Start the clock. As soon as we gain control of Armor's toes, we grab the data diver and wait patiently to be let out of the van. There we go. Sprinting as fast as Archie's elderly legs will allow, we charge through the car park and statue repository with one location in mind. The area around the playground is meant to be inaccessible, but by deftly squeezing between this forklift and staircase, we can give this plank of wood a big old smooch, which teleports us directly on top of the playground. Look, I don't know either, let's not overthink it. Then we pause the game. While these squeeze and smooch tricks work best with unlimited frame rate, the jump you're about to see only really consistently works at 30 FPS. With that done, we take one final leap over the exterior fence, stopping the clock and helping Andreas quiet quit in a mere 58 seconds. Truly a lack of work ethic we can all aspire to. And yes, I know I left the timer running while it was paused, but what can I say? To me, menuing is part of the challenge. So, with that stellar performance by Arnold, that brings the final average time of Team Freddy to 2 minutes and 7 seconds. It's a strong start to the competition, but it's also undeniable that those plot-heavy scenes have really been holding the Freddos back. Let's find out if that's a fatal flaw or not, as we see which team is next. Door.
First instantly out of change forever. Discover new metal boosters from display. With new selected texture finishes.
It's a game about a child and later aging millennial who becomes embroiled in a plan to expose his neighbors' evil deeds. It's also a member of the exclusive club of video games that lets me get a look at Metacritic's red background. But hey, at least D-Gome got muchísimo hype out of it, so good for them. In terms of the game itself, though, how exactly does it play out?
I'm gonna keep pushing.
That is a complicated
keep
question,
playing.
since Hello Neighbor is kind of a semi-open world escape room. The game has several acts, which change the map and the win conditions, but the pathway to that victory is often pretty convoluted. So instead of getting lost in that source, let's skip straight to my initial ideas, which will take us all the way to the dream sequence. That is... sorry. A peculiar quirk of Hello Neighbor is how much it loves to present its Easter eggs in a way that makes it look like the game has been broken. With the relevant one in Act 3 being this intangible wall that hides an Unreal Engine missing script. Touching this will teleport you out of bounds, where you can explore a bit, as well as collect some novelty achievements. The reason why we're talking about it, though, is because at this point you can just walk to the edge of the map, jump off, and fall endlessly into the void. Our favourite. So that is definitely a soft block, but there are some pretty obvious downsides. With the major one being that this is all in Act 3, which is quite far into the game, and that's not even mentioning how long it takes to walk to the edge of the map to throw yourself off. If only there was some way to get fully out of bounds immediately, right at the beginning of Act 1. Oh, well, yep, the first of those Unreal Engine missing scripts is actually one of the very first things you can find in the game, teleporting you entirely out of bounds and leaving quite the first impression. I see. I see! What the hell was that? But as a boastful fisherman might say, there's a big catch. While, yes, we do spawn out of bounds, we very quickly drop into another teleport that takes us straight back up to the map and into a cutscene. Additionally, to make sure that we definitely do get walked back up to the game, the devs even placed some walls around us as a funnel. So that is quite a lot of protections, but no protections are perfect. Because it turns out that hitting that teleport with a lot of speed actually carries that momentum over into the out of bounds. So, with enough velocity upward, we may be able to fling ourselves so far over those protective walls that we can fully avoid the teleport below us. Thankfully, Hello Neighbor has no shortage of items that give you momentum. The actual problem is that they often give you too much momentum. By far the hardest part of this trick was trying to not crash the entire executable by flinging myself into a parallel universe. But with many thanks to the speedrunning Discord finding a consistent setup, my wish was finally granted. Start the clock. To gain control of our third child protagonist of the video so far, I abruptly turn left and grab a garbage bag. That isn't part of the setup, it's just that after crashing the game accidentally for hours, I was kind of zoning out. Then, with a flick of the feet, we saw straight over the barrier. And there it is. Easily the fastest song of the video so far in a svelte and speedy 17 seconds. Trapping our protagonist forever in a world of eternal slumber. Things are getting off to a phenomenal start for TV. But if Helen was so good, why haven't they checked a little bit too?
Introducing the big memory. Leading interior space.
Hello, David, follows a shot instant journalist called Quentin as they investigate a worrying uptick in neighbours. One could even be the name next to or maybe not. I don't know. Look, I haven't played this game outside of research for this video, and not to spoil things for you, but I didn't exactly get to see much of it. So what did I see? How is the gameplay meant to start? The game kicks off as Quentin crashes his van into an old bar. This whole section is mostly a tutorial for the controls as you search the premises for gears to open the door back out. You'll be using keys to open doors, collecting those gears, learn about breaking glass, and then use your shiny new crowbar to gain access to new areas, and more gears, and more tutorials, and you get the idea. Recover all the missing pieces and put them in their appropriate spots, and you are free to explore the rest of the game. But honestly, this bar is pretty rude. You know, it's really hard to get your foot on the property ladder nowadays, and this place even has indoor parking. So, what do you say we do our main character a favour and get him soft-locked here forever? So far in this video, we've gotten ourselves physically stuck once, and we've banished multiple children into the void where they belong. But those aren't the only ways to get soft-locked in video games, with this tutorial being absolutely full to the brim with key items that, if we happen to lose one of them permanently, would make and therefore progressing the game completely impossible. That's why when the speedrunners make me aware of this whole lot that items could be disposed out of, I immediately had a plan. In order to get the very first cog, you need to use a key to unlock a door. So, booting up the game, I immediately grabbed and defeated that key far out of reach, making any future progress completely impossible. Or I guess it's more accurate to say, that's what I hoped would happen. Because it turns out that in this tutorial about using keys are entirely optional, with this hole in the wall allowing crafty players to squeeze in, grab that gear, and squeeze right back out, unlocking this stop. So instead of losing a key to lose access to a gear, let's not be so greedy and just take the 1 extra second to eject the gear instead. I mean, that's what the speedrunners were suggesting anyway. I guess that's what I get for being creative. Start the clock. Upon gaining control, we open up the gate, grab the key, and unlock the door.
I'm gonna end stream for now. I'm just gonna wait for him to go back also.
And